It hasn't started yet.
Oh, we haven't started yet?
No.
Okay.
It's on, but we haven't started yet.
Hi, guys. It's Ron Bass with another edition of the Ron Bass Show. It's your source for inspiration, encouragement, motivation, humor.
I guess we're starting.
We're starting. Guys, I really appreciate all your comments, and so does Brett. Brent.
I'll answer either.
I've got a Brett in my martial arts school.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
And when you get old, you get confused real quick. Oh, real easy.
Okay.
So you mix things all up.
Okay.
I was trying to think of the word the other day. Another thing that happens when you get old, you can't remember things like, you can't remember what you just said either. What's the word that has something to do with that you're an odd person? Not odd like in a negative way, but odd in a good way. There's a word I'm looking for.
Odd in a good way.
Yeah, that you are a
odd good way person.
Brent and I both have colds going on here, so bear with us. We sound a little weird. We're a little hoarse, but we'll get through it. So I was telling Brent the story about a musician out of Australia. His name is Tage, T-A-J Feront. I think that's how you pronounce it. Oh, here comes the train.
Up.
Somebody's going to hit their goal.
Somebody hit their goal.
And this Tage Feront cat is from Australia, and he's like a phenom. He can play guitar like Jimi Hendrix. I mean, he's only like 15 now. He was like 8 or 9 when he started.
Wow.
And he's been on a lot of national television programs. And at any rate, he came through Springfield, Missouri, where we live, and he connected with a local band here in town. And the guy it's called the Nathan Bryce something band. And Nathan Bryce, I've known this guy for a lot of years. He's also a great guitar player. And he saw him play at a local club, and they connected. And make a long story short, he became the backup band for Tage Feront, which is the phenom. And they've been together like 3 years. He's taken them all over the United States, touring with them.
Wow.
So it's been a great experience, of course, for Nathan Bryce, the local Springfieldian who I know. And because we talk about music stories, success stories, and this is one of them. But all of a sudden, the father who manages the son apparently didn't like something that Nathan Bryce did, and so now they've parted ways. So there's all this hoopla on the Facebook page about all this going on, and everybody's taking sides, and of course they each have their own fan base.
Yep.
But I say that to say this, guys. I was telling Brent that when you have multiple personalities in any kind of an organization, whether it's my martial arts school, whether it's a music business, and you're in close quarters, you're going to have drama. I mean, it's just sort of the way it goes. And I tell my friends and my students and my associates all the time, look, it's going to happen. It's not going to be your first rodeo. It's not going to be your last rodeo. So I say all that to say this. You have to just focus on your own goals. Don't worry about all this silliness because it's going to be out there, guys. You got to take the high road. You can't let all this stuff bring you down to where you're upset and discouraged and frustrated and you don't move forward with your goals. It's always going to be something. I promise you. It's always going to be something. So whether it's music, whether it's martial arts, whether it's your profession, whether it's your workplace, whether it's your family, whether it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, friend, best friend, mother, father, whatever, teacher, look, not everybody's going to get along all the time. Not everybody's going to see eye to eye. It's just the way it is. Focus on yourself. Focus on your goals. I was at the gym today. I just came from the gym. And my friend there, Carrie, she's a gorgeous girl. She's just turned 50, I think. Works out every day. Absolutely gorgeous. Super fit. Super pleasant. Very successful in her profession. And we were talking today, and it's like, she's worried about her cholesterol. She's going to the doctor. She wanted to lose weight. She lost like 30 pounds. And I said, Carrie, you look great, but did you want to lose that much weight? Yeah, I set the goal. I didn't want to be that, that's my normal weight before you knew me 10 years ago, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, man, you worked your butt off. You got where you wanted to get to. You look great. You feel great. Feel great's better than look great. If you feel good, guys, don't worry so much about, how you physically look. Your looks are going to change as you get older. Your looks are going to change for a lot of reasons. Genetics, as you age, everything changes. Focus on feeling good. I was telling one of my students last night, he's got diabetes. great guy, but he's probably 100 pounds overweight. I'm guessing just looking at him, and he's already lost like I think 50, 60, 70 pounds, but he's got diabetes and he can't be 40 years old. I said to him in a nice way, "Hey, is that genetics or is it lifestyle?" He said, "Well, I don't really know." And I'm thinking, you probably do know. It's probably that you're overweight and you're not eating the right thing. It might be genetics, might play a role, but regardless of the genetics, if you got diabetes, you got to have the right kind of nutrition. You got to rest better. You got to work out. I said, "Do you ever work out?" He said, "No." His son was with us as well. His son's probably 18, 19. And these are big guys, like the son's a real big athletic guy. I said, "Do you work out?" "Nope." I said, "Well, man, as you get older, you're going to regret it because it's all going to change." I read an article today that I think it's after 40, you lose like 1% a year of your muscle mass. Maybe it's after 30, yeah. And you lose one. We've talked about this before, and you lose 1% of your VO2, which is your cardio, your oxygenation. I think that's the word. The way that your heart pumps and the way that you get oxygen to your cells decreases, I think, about 1% a year after 40, maybe after 30. So by the time you're 60 or 70, you're probably 30 to 40% down on your ability to have good cardio, to have endurance, whether you're fighting, whether you're exercising, whether you're just walking up and down stairs. And your muscle mass, if you're not working out, some kind of weights, it's going to get bad. So, and then your balance goes bad when you get old. You can't, you fall, you break your hip. They say if you break your hip after 70, I think you only have like a 20% chance of living. It's crazy, something weird.
That's
like that.
nuts.
It is nuts. But look, the bottom line is you got to work out, man. You got to work out. So that's an interesting little story. Another little story. Yesterday I'm at my office and a guy comes walking into my martial arts school because I office in my martial arts school. And hey, how you doing, man? What's going on? He said, "I saw your sign on the door, the 10th Planet Martial Arts School." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I am a 10th Planet guy from Phoenix, Arizona." He said, "I started in the year 2000. That's 25 years ago."
Wow.
He said, "I took a 15-year hiatus because I had some medical issues, whatever." He's in the real estate business. He moved from Arizona to basically Branson, Missouri, which you've probably heard that name if you're from the States. And he bought some farm. He bought a farmland or some farm. He bought some acreage, and he has a house on the land, and he's going to remodel it because he wants to live there, and he wants to come back and start training. And he saw our name on the window, and he said, "Wow, I didn't know there was a 10th Planet gym in Missouri and Springfield." And so we had this really nice discussion. He says he's going to start coming in and training, which would be great. So I say that to say this: you never know what triggers somebody to do what they're going to do and how it might affect your life. Because if this guy comes into our gym, it's going to be a great asset because he's been doing it a long time, and he's an instructor. He also does judo, and it'd be really great because everybody will benefit. He'll benefit, the students will benefit, I'll benefit, everybody wins.
Yeah.
So it's like this, guys. You have to throw a lot of mud against the wall every day. Whether it's the marketing thing, whether it's meeting people, if you're involved in a social setting where you want to meet people to date or build friendships, and out of all those experiences, the odds are something positive is probably going to happen. I don't know where and when and how often, but I can promise you, if you don't throw the mud against the wall, ain't nothing going to happen. You got to throw your hat in the ring. You've got to be in the fray. You have to keep trying to make things happen in your life. I told Brent earlier, I said, sometimes being ambitious, it really is a curse. I said I could probably have been a gazillionaire by now if I hadn't made all these business decisions that I made that failed in my career. But at the same time, if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have had the experience that I have, the knowledge that I have, and the ability that I have to move forward with better knowledge and probably more likely to be successful, more successful than I would have been had I not gone through all that and have references. If you have references, it's easier to not make as many mistakes going forward. And if they're your personal references, because you've made a mistake, or lots of them, you're not as likely to screw up as often or as much or again versus if you hadn't have had those experiences. Okay, So much for that. Let's see what else I've got to talk about today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, here's some money. I forgot about that.
Oh.
Yeah, money makes the world go round. My mother had the best saying, though. She said, honey, I used to be like really impressed with somebody if they had a nice car, a nice home. She said, honey, you never know. This is the greatest saying. Honey, she always called me honey. Honey, you never know what's in somebody else's, what is in somebody else's bank account. And if you really think about it, that's the truth, isn't it? You can borrow all the money in the world and look great, but it doesn't mean you have any equity. Doesn't mean you have anything really going for yourself except that you can borrow money. And the banks love you when you borrow money. There was a time in my career, Brent, before I knew Brent, that I could borrow all the money I could ever want. I had banks coming to me right and left, sign here, sign here, sign here. And guess what? I couldn't pay the loans. And then guess what happened? Now I went from being the best, the most favorite guy of the bank to being the biggest enemy of the bank. And I mean, it was horrible. And the whole world caved in on me. And I went through a bad bankruptcy, and I was all over the news. And I mean, I was like famous, but not in the right way for quite a while. This is like 30 or 40 years ago. But I say that to say this too. People will stroke your ego to get what they want. They'll take it back because the banks love it because that's the interest. That's how they make their money.
Yep.
And I was thinking, oh man, I'm the guy. Look at me, I can get all this money, and wow. And after that experience, I said, I'm not ever going to borrow money again. I will figure it out on my own. I will build my own money through success and being conservative and managing my money. And I'll take that money and I'll invest that money in my ideas versus borrow the money. Because if I fail, guess what? I don't have anybody to apologize to but myself. So, any rate, that's another story. We like to tell stories. Sometimes these things just come to mind because I've been through enough crazy things that somewhere in that brain of mine, there's all these events that I like to talk about. Things, different things prompt me to talk about things. These podcasts are not planned out, guys. We have some general notes, but I mean, it's basically extemporaneous. When I was in school,
That's a big word.
Yeah, that's a big word. That basically means off the cuff, or just off the tip of your tongue, right? When I was in high school and I did speech and debate, my speech coach would have us go to these speech tournaments, and we would do extemporaneous speaking, speech and debate, oratorical events, dramatic events, humorous events. And that's really where I got my experience to do my TV and radio commercials, which I've done off and on over the years for my home repair company, and now to be able to do the podcast. I wouldn't have had the confidence to do this had I not had that experience and my coach, Bob Ballou, back in high school. It's crazy how one thing leads to the next, 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 to the next. And you can't really see it at the moment. It just has to play out, guys. But that's why it's so important to be around good people. You have to have mentorship. You have to have people in your life that you can count on, that believe in you, that encourage you, that give you confidence, help you to have confidence. My current jiu-jitsu coach, Cody Lemons, I mean, he has never had a cross word with me. He's always encouraged me. In spite of all the reasons why I shouldn't be able to do jiu-jitsu, he never let me down. He still continues to always be cordial and pleasant and understanding and patient with me when it comes to training. And guys, you need people like that in your life. It makes all the difference. Okay, so I want to talk briefly about a few things and then we're going to get to some breaking news. Quit blaming other people for your problems. I see this a lot. And I'm not one of those guys, man. If I got something going on that's not good, I look at myself in the mirror and I say, hey, if somebody's influencing me in the wrong way, I need to get rid of those people. If I'm thinking the wrong way, I need to get rid of those bad thoughts. I like to make notes. I have a lot of notes on my desk because it's like, if I think of something, I write it down, and then maybe I come back to it later in the day when the phone's not ringing and things are quiet. I review my notes, and I come up with solutions to the things that I don't like. There's all kinds of things that are going on in your life all the time. Just write them down, write them down, write them down. While you're pull up to a stoplight, keep a pad in your car, write them down. At your office, at your home, at your study, wherever you've got a place that you can get a piece of paper and a pen, write it down. And go back to it and go back to it until you can finally check it off. Once you check it off, you know that you can move on to the next item. And if you're an ambitious person, you're probably going to have a long list. And you just have to keep going through the list until you get everything checked off. Then you're going to have new things come up, and you got to put those down on the list. Look, it's a never-ending battle. That's life. We're always going through challenges, and it's okay. That's who we are. We're made to deal. We're made, to have these events and these struggles, and we're also made to figure out solutions. You have to apply yourself. You can't just go drinking and drugging and trying to not think about things. You have to hit everything head on and deal with it. Quit drinking and drugging. Quit hiding from what's going on. Face it. Deal with it. It's a lot better, I promise you guys, than it is to, get drunk or get high, and then the next day it's just back again, and you have to keep getting drunk and keep getting high. I see this pattern over and over, and then now you're physically addicted. So now you got two problems. You still got the original problem, and you've got an addiction. It's a dead-end street, guys. I don't care what you got to do to get out of that loop. You got to get out of that loop. Okay. Breaking news, sir.
Well, so if you've...
That's a deep subject.
It is.
For such shallow minds.
So for those of you who've ever wanted to smell armpits...
Oh, my God.
This company put together an ad campaign in New York City where you can actually go up to the wall and scratch and sniff an armpit.
Oh, my God.
And sniff different deodorants that they're trying to promote that they just launched and came out with. So in New York City, of course, there's a lot of things you can do in New York City.
Oh, my goodness.
But you can actually scratch and sniff armpits.
That's crazy stuff.
So just
who in the world and what in the world would that be all about, and who came up with that idea?
Oh, some crazy ad campaign guy.
Wow.
Some marketing dude.
Some marketing. Those marketing guys, I don't know what to say about those guys, man. There's something else.
And you're going to like this.
Okay.
Today is National Honesty Day.
I like it.
Yep.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I knew you'd like it.
Yes.
And for the people that love raisins, it's National Raisin Day as well. And
is that like Raisin Cane, or is that like the fruit?
No, raisin.
Okay.
Fruit. Yep.
I got you.
And then it's National Bugs Bunny Day for those of you who love Bugs Bunny.
Speaking of Bugs Bunny, I saw a clip on YouTube or TikTok. The guy that did the voice was in a car accident. This is a cool story. And he wasn't expected to live. I can't remember the guy's name right now. I can see his face. And he was in a coma. So the doctor kept coming in and saying, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No response. And somebody said to him, hey, why don't you ask him, like, what's up, Doc? Which is one of the Bugs Bunny's favorite saying. And he said, oh, that's silly. Try it. And so the doctor walked in the room. It's a true story. And he said, hey, what's up, Doc? And the guy answered him in the Bugs Bunny voice. I can't remember what he said, but isn't that crazy?
It is.
For you guys who don't know what Bugs Bunny is or who he is, that's a famous cartoon character in the Disney world, the Disney company back in the day.
Speaking of that,
yes.
I was watching a documentary, and
the guy came out of the coma, by the way, and he went on to become, continue his career for many years.
Oh, wow.
Before he finally passed away from old age, I think.
One thing I didn't know is that when Walt Disney first started the park, he held auditions for the voice of Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
And they went through tons and tons and tons of people.
Okay.
And I guess the producer that was trying to find the talent heard Walt doing his version of Mickey Mouse. So he liked it so much that for the first 3 to 5 years, I think, it was that Walt Disney was the voice of Mickey Mouse.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that either. I thought that was interesting.
That's very interesting. Walt Disney himself was a very fascinating guy, and nobody gave him the time of day when he built his first park in California. They said he was crazy and this and that. And I think he just about went broke putting it together, whatever happened. But he, obviously, the rest is history.
Yeah.
And he lived a very successful life. But unfortunately, his life was cut short. Why? Because he was a heavy smoker. And I don't want to get on the preaching stand again too much here, but guys, if you're smoking, put them down. If you're vaping, put it down. If you're smoking pot, put it down and do some edibles. You can't put stuff in your lungs like that. It's hard enough if you do everything right to be healthy, let alone doing these things that are just going to make it that much worse on your body.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I preach a lot, but only from my own experience, because I used to smoke and I know what it's like and I know what it took to put them down and quit smoking, and it was not fun. But it was well worth it. That was 40 years ago. I probably wouldn't even be alive today, which might be a good thing for some people. I'm talking about my enemies, right?
Yeah.
You know, people are weird. Like, there's people out there that don't like me, and for absolutely zero reason. And it fascinates me, at least if you had a good reason. Like, I owed you money, I could see you hate me. Or if I, slept with your wife or something crazy. But just to not like somebody because, this makes no sense to me. But that shows you how quirky people can be, or how mentally ill people can be, or how silly they can be, or how maybe they're jealous because you have some notoriety, or because you have some money, or because you're more socially successful than they are, maybe in a setting where the women come to you and they don't come to you. I don't know. It's maybe it's just hard to say. But the bottom line is this, guys. So what? If somebody doesn't like you, who cares? Water off a duck's back. You're not trying to win a popularity contest. Have you never heard that before?
No.
Yeah, water off a duck's back because it rolls off. They have like a coating that water just like rolls off.
Okay.
It doesn't like stay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You like that saying?
Yeah, I do.
I keep coming up with these sayings. In the store the other day, and I said, "See you tomorrow, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise." And I thought everybody knew what that meant. They looked at me like, "Huh?" Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise. Because back in the day, you couldn't cross the bridge in a buggy and a horse because the water was too high.
Yeah.
So that's an old saying. Okay, so much for all that. Well, have we bored everybody enough? Can we get out of here now and let everybody get back to what they were doing before they listened to us?
It's all I got.
Man. Guys, it's not that complicated. It really isn't. But it's hard. And it should be hard. If it's easy, guess what? Everybody be doing it. Success should be your number one goal every single day. Personal success, financial success, psychological success, emotional success, physical success. Focus on it, man. When I say man, I'm talking to men and women. That's just a saying. Focus on yourself. Focus on your success. Focus on improving your life. Focus on all these things so that you can enjoy your life. We're not going to live forever. We're going to die. And that's okay too. We die, we're going to go somewhere better. But while we're here and we're dealing with life, let's enjoy our life. We can't enjoy our life if we feel bad physically and emotionally and psychologically. We want to feel good. Then every day is like super cool, right? And we're going to have those days where it's not super cool. We don't feel good. Things just come our way and we got to deal with stuff. That's okay too. But at least follow the basic rules, man. Eat right, sleep right, work out, be around good people. Those are at least 4 things that you just need to do every single day. And I promise you, if you will do these things, you will be so much better off. The good's going to outweigh the bad. Are you going to have some bad? Yes. One of my coaches the other night came to me. I could tell he'd been crying. What's up? He said, my uncle committed suicide. He was close to his uncle. Look, you can't control other people. And you're going to have moments where it's like devastating. But you still have to go forward. You can't let things stop you from accomplishing your goals. You can take a moment. You can take a side tour. You can take a break. Yes, but you have to always get back on the track every day and follow the rules and work towards your goals, guys. It's everything. So just remember, if you don't give up, which you better not, eventually those stars are going to line up. So up until that time and even after that, always remember to stay positive.